Hey everyone, Connor Garnett here. We're going to be unlocking your Twoey backhand drive. This is one of my favorite shots in pickleball. We're going to be talking about the mechanics of it, the footwork, preparation, and how to measure your results to get your Twoey looking as lethal as mine.
Down below. Oh.
We're going to be going over the 6 most important things on the Twoey backhand drive to get your backhand up and running. First thing we're going to be going over is the grip. We're going to be talking about how to hold the grip. We're then going to be talking about the movement to the ball. Once we go through that, the kinetic chain, the contact point, and then how we use the arms after we engage the kinetic chain. And finally, we're going to be talking about topspin and how to get that ball to dip. With the grip on the Twoey, my right hand for a right-handed player is going to be in a continental shake hand grip. So my knuckle is aligned with this bevel right here. My left hand pointer finger goes on the back of the paddle. I'm gripping it from the top if I'm picking up the paddle. And the reason I do this is this finger gives me a little bit more control on the ball to get around this or to guide it down the line. Some people will put their hand like this. This gets a little bit more whip on the ball, but a little bit less control. Second, we're going to be talking about the movement to the ball. This sets us up for everything else going forward because we want to be balanced when we're making contact with the ball. When I think about movement, it starts when my opponent makes contact with the ball. I'm taking a split step. Once I know that ball is coming to my backhand, my hips rotate this way, and I'm taking big steps first to get to the ball, and then small adjustment steps when I'm near the ball. Once I am about to make contact, my right foot, I'm stepping into it, I'm leading with the heel, and then going to the toe so I can get forward movement through the ball. This allows me to naturally shift into the court, getting more power behind this shot. All right, so the third thing we're going to be covering is the kinetic chain. Everyone wants to get power from their arms, but really where power comes from is the legs, hips, and core. I talk about this in all my videos, but the more we can limit the arm motion and the more we can get our power coming from this trunk, the more successful and the more replicatable our shots are gonna be. So when I'm taking a swing, if we look at it, my arms aren't moving until contact. I can bring my paddle all the way to the contact point with just hip rotation. That's where the power is coming from. Hips, legs, and core are all engaged, and those hips bring the paddle out, and then I just let my arms go for a ride at the end. With this first demo, I'm not gonna move my arms at all. I'm just gonna bring my paddle out, and I want you guys to see how much power I can get without my arms. So see there, I'm not moving my arms at all until this little follow through because of how much acceleration I'm having. That's all the hips coming out. On my normal swing, I'm gonna add a little bit of a backswing and follow through, but I can get that much power from just that kinetic chain. And I want you guys to remember that swinging harder doesn't generate more power. It's engaging these muscles here that gives you the power. A great pro tip relating to this, I'm hitting my passing shots at about 70% most of the time. Sometimes I'll even slow it down to 50%. Placement and precision over power always wins out. And if you can get that ball below the net, that's more effective than hitting it hard all the time. All right, so the fourth thing we're gonna talk about is contact point. This can be broken down into watching the ball hit the paddle. Think about like a football wide receiver. when they're catching the ball, they have to watch it and then look to the open field. Normally they drop it when they're like looking and they're afraid to get hit. Same rule applies in pickleball, except there's not a 200-pound lineman looking to tackle me. Second thing that we're gonna be covering with this is we wanna let the ball drop onto the paddle. The slower that the ball is coming, the more we can add our own pace to the ball. Also, if the ball is kind of descending a little bit, we can send it back up with topspin so it's going the same way. The more you change direction, the more risk you add to your shot. And so this just makes it a little bit safer. The fifth thing that we're gonna be talking about is the use of the arms. A lot of people have some controversy on which arm is more dominant on this shot. Remember, as we talked about before, the kinetic chain is where we're getting our power from, and then the arms just add to it at the end. Now, with that being said, we want that left arm to be a little bit more dominant as it's turning over the ball, and it's giving us that control when we hit this cross-court angle. I'm really getting around the ball with my left hand, or I'm going through it when I'm hitting down the line. That right hand is still coming out with it, but that left hand is giving us that extra little bit to get that control so the ball dips down over the net. The sixth thing we're gonna be covering is topspin. This is what gets that dipping sensation on my Twoey backhand. The reason this is so important is if that ball is dipping below the net, now my opponent has to hit up on that ball, and I can start to crash and take that next ball out of the air to really punish them. With this shot, what I'm looking at is first dropping the paddle face. This is going to start the motion. Then second, managing my wrists, so I'm not coming through the ball like this, I'm coming over the ball. Think of almost a windshield wiper, like brushing over it. And then third, my paddle face is aiming towards where I'm hitting the ball until I have to follow through. So all that said again, paddle dips, I'm going up through it, turning it over. If I'm going down the line, my paddle face is there until I follow through. Same thing cross court, paddle face is going cross court until I follow through there. Now we're gonna be getting into the drills that I like to utilize when I'm working on my Twoey. The first one's very basic. We're just gonna be using a ball machine, working on hitting drives that are dipping, and we're looking at height over the net as well. We want this ball to have a little bit of a margin over the net, but dropping with topspin as it gets over the net. We're not trying to overhit this as I talked about before, but we're trying to get a consistent 70% pace on this shot. The second drill is gonna be more of a live player scenario. We're gonna have one person at the net, so it's now more of a live ball situation, and we'll cover that when we get to that drill. With this drill, you can see that I'm really prioritizing that height over the net. I'm taking a little bit off that ball so I can make sure that I'm hitting a consistent shot. Sometimes it'll go a little high, but I'm working on getting 80% effective with these shots. It's really nice here at the Pickler. They have ball machines that you can use, and they have Wingfield Tech, which is an AI platform that allows you to track where your shots are landing. So you can see after you've hit a hopper of balls, you can see exactly where these shots land, and then you can adjust accordingly if you need to hit them deeper, shorter. In this drill, we're working on depth, so we want to maybe aim for the back half of the court, and we can track that with Wingfield technology. So the second drill we're going to be doing is more interactive. I'm going to have Jackson, he's going to be up at the net, and my goal on all these drives is to keep it below his chest on these shots. Level 1 of this drill, we're just going to be going straight ahead, and he's just going to be volleying it back to me. Level 2, I'm going to hit one shot down the line, he's going to volley it back to me, I'm going to hit one shot cross court. So I'm working on moving that shot, as well as he's working on moving at that kitchen line. All right, so now that we've covered level 1 of the drill, now Jackson's gonna move. I'm gonna hit one shot line, one shot cross court, and we're gonna go from there. So bringing it all together, if there's one kind of thought to take away from this, I want you guys to think about the movement. The heel toe gets you to the ball, the hips give you the power, letting the ball drop for your contact point, the wrists to give you topspin, and then your brain to make the right shot. If you can use all those things, you're gonna be set to rip your Twoey just like mine and get out on the practice court. The big takeaway is as you're practicing, even if you're using some of my drills, you wanna make sure that it's intentional practice. You're working on how well you can get that ball to dip. You're working on, am I getting to that ball? Am I moving correctly? All of these things, you wanna focus on them one at a time to really be intentional with your drilling to set yourself up for success the best way possible. Thank you for tuning in on how to hit the Twoey backhand drive. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below. If there's any other Twoey shots that you guys want to see, let me know in the comments as well. I want to thank my sponsors, Zaya and the Pickler, for sponsoring this video. Check out my links in the description. It's got all my gear. If you want to get my fit from Zaya, there's a link down there for that. We also have the 30 for 30 Pickler membership. Click that link. It gets you 30 days for $30. The unlimited membership, that's where I'm playing at. It's pretty great. Click that link as well. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss a video. We're dropping them bi-weekly. Twoey Nation out.